Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for prioritizing this important topic. Mr. Chairman, I ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record 51 statements from 64 organizations spanning industry, labor, and the broader maritime community expressing support for the Ships for America Act. These statements reflect the broad, bipartisan, and nationwide support for rebuilding U.S. shipbuilding capacity, expanding our U.S.-flagged ocean-going commercial fleet, and ensuring the American workers remain at the heart of our maritime strength.
Without objection.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Mercogliano, thanks so much for being here. And, you know, it's been said by a number of our witnesses today that American shipbuilding has ebbed and flowed, and you've each spun, I think, very related and complementary narratives about why right now we have a shipbuilding infirmity in this country. And I agree with, I think, Mr. Paxton's assessment that it was market forces that led us to chase value, you know, the same quality or even better quality at lower cost. And we delivered that to the taxpayers, but we lost sight of the fact that it's important for us policymakers to be baking into the price of certain critical goods, strategic goods, a national security or economic security premium. And so it's time we updated our economics. If we learned anything over the course of a global pandemic with semiconductors and other valuable products, it's that we need to do our work up here on the Hill. So this hearing is really important, sir. Our industrial capacity, as you have intimated, has cratered since the 70s with respect to some of these key strategic products. So we're in a bind. We're a maritime nation. Alfred Thayer Mahan, a name you're familiar with, talked not just about naval power, but more broadly about sea power. And could you unpack that a little bit, explain what that means to be a nation of sea power, and explain how the SHIPS Act and the President's Maritime Action Plan can get us back on the right course as a sea power nation?
I'd be happy to, Senator Young, and I want to thank you and Senator Kelly for your leadership on the SHIPS Act. It has been absolutely essential for us. A friend of mine, Nicholas Lambert, wrote a fantastic book, Neptune Factor, which talks about Alfred Thayer Mahan in looking at this as economics, and that's what he understood. He understood sea power to be not just the application of military force, but economic force. It is trade, it is commerce. Whole reason to have a Navy is to ensure that the economics and trade is moving and flowing for a nation. We shifted our focus. We've gone kind of back and forth between being a continental and a maritime nation, and now we are obviously a maritime nation based on our imports and exports. And we have seen since 2021 with Ever Given getting stuck in the Suez, we've seen it with incidents along the coast of the United States, Dolly and Baltimore. We've seen how vulnerable our supply chain can be to disruptions, both being caused naturally and by other forces, outside forces, the Houthi, for example, in the Red Sea. So I think the importance here is that we've kind of gotten away from that lesson, but since 2021, it has been brought home numerous times through the supply chain crisis.
Right. So thank you, sir. And just to put a fine point on it, I'm quoting Mr. Paxton a lot today, but he did say earlier, and I wrote it down, maritime dependency makes us a client state. So, Doctor, what would happen if tomorrow China said we are no longer going to allow our vessels, our merchant vessels, to stop in U.S. ports? And how might the Ships for America Act offer a solution to that challenge?
Well, as you know, less than 2% of our imports, exports are on U.S. ships. And a nation like China, which has Chinese Overseas Shipping Company, a major shipping firm, can cause disruptions to us. I mean, just by simply ordering their ships to slow down and come in 2 days late will cause disruptions to us. By having a ships for the United States, we provide us with that reservoir, that backlog, so that we're not dependent on it. It was the thing that created actually the Jones Act in 1920 when we found out that 11% of our international trade was only carried on American ships. It's much lower today.
Right, and that legislation Perhaps it can be improved in various ways. We want to keep this coalition together around the Ships for America Act, but it was designed to change the cost structure, right? A very similar motivation that we're seeking today as with the Ships for America Act. Mr. Paxton, as my time comes to a close here, there's some who doubt that America's shipbuilding industry is capable of responding to the enormity of this threat of supply chain interruption and all the rest. What do you say to that?
Categorically disagree. We have shipyards that are building large ocean-going vessels right now as we speak, up at Philly, NASCO, many other shipyards. We have the capability and capacity, sir. What we don't have is a demand signal your legislation will produce. That would open up more capacity in existing infrastructure and probably end up opening more shipyards.
Thank you. Thank you all.